Have you ever had a moment where you look at your life on paper and objectively everything is good, but you still feel off? Keep watching because we're going to dive deep into that today. Hi, guys. Welcome back to Reflect, Improve, and Thrive. I hope everyone is doing amazing. Hopefully, everyone's having a good week, a good day. Whenever you're listening to this, I'm feeling very, very happy today, to be honest. I'm about to go watch the new Spider Man movie. So I'm just like, I'm stoked. I love Spider-Man, so this is, like, really exciting, and I also love Zendaya, Tom Holland, so it's gonna be a good movie. Let me just talk about my week real quick, quick little check-in. I had such a good week. It went by so fast. Like, my work week was, like, insanely fast, and I don't know why, but I'm super grateful because work can be exhausting, you know what I mean? So I was so happy that the week flew by, and I'm so happy because it's the weekend. Turn up. But I know when I post this, it's gonna be Monday, so sorry, you got this. Keep working it because when the weekend comes, you're gonna feel so good. Another thing, I got a new microphone. Let me know if you like this microphone, like if it sounds like good quality. I mainly got it for my TikTok and everything, but I felt like, let me see how this does for my podcast because my microphone was kind of acting up. I don't really know what was going on with it. It just sounded, like, really low, and I'm not someone that, like, knows a lot about, like, audio equipment, so it just got really confusing. So I'm like, "Hopefully, this sounds good." So if you like it, let me know, but if you want me to, like, go back to the old mic, please also let me know because I want this to sound good to you guys and something you feel like, it sounds good, I guess, I don't know. But, I also love it too because it's orange. I think it's, like it's so my brand, and it's so cute. Here, if you're watching the video, it comes in this little case, and I just think it's so cute, and it has 2 mics, so maybe I'll have some episodes with other people, you never know. Feel really grateful because this is episode 3, so that means I've showed up consistently for 3 weeks. Oh my gosh, that's insane. But I've actually been working on this podcast for, like, a little over maybe 2 months now just 'cause I spent too long planning it. I think that is what was going on, but it was just the imposter syndrome. But now I just feel like I'm going full throttle. I also have been posting meditations. Let me know if you guys like those. I want this podcast again to be very, like, aligned with connecting back to yourself. That's what this whole vibe is for. Like, you listen to the episodes, you reflect on life, you make improvements, and you remember that you have the opportunity to thrive. And then also with some other videos like the meditations, I want that to be a way where you come home to yourself, you reconnect. And again, you always have like all the answers within yourself. So when you feel like life is getting too much, meditate. And meditation can look differently. Like you don't have to sit down and meditate. That's personally what I like because that's where I feel like I can sort out my thoughts a little bit more. But I know a lot of people like to do creative hobbies. Maybe you like to listen to music, and that's like a form of meditation. So, whatever you feel. But I feel like the act of meditation, even if it looks differently in like different contexts, do that. Reconnect back to yourself. Have more conversations. Get to know who you are in this present moment. So, yeah, that's my little tangent there. In this week's episode, we're going to really introspect and think about life a little bit deeper and a little bit more meaningful. That's what I want this episode to have, like the clear intention. So, right now, everyone, set the intention of just taking as much as you possibly can from this episode. I also want to say, in the improvement side of this episode, it's not gonna be as, like, step-by-step guide. For this specific topic, I felt like there wasn't really a way to step-by-step guide. I think it's mainly mindset shifts to, like, ponder on and see if it resonates. So, yeah. So just a heads up there, it's gonna be more of that vibe. So, yeah, let's get right into this episode. Okay, so this episode is very meaningful to me because I've had a lot of conversations with my best friend about this, specifically when everything is like going so good, but you just still kind of feel like off and you almost feel guilty about that. So if you've been feeling that way, let's get right into the reflect section and let's talk about it. To paint the picture, when I thought about this topic, I was really reflecting, I mean, on this present moment, how I do wake up and sometimes feel like there's this like off feeling. Like everything is going good. Like I have a good job. I am in a really amazing relationship. I have the bestest of best friends. I have a great family. I have food on the table. I can pay my rent. I can, all these good things. Sometimes I just feel like some things are off. I'm not really being present and I'm so focused, I think, too much on the future. Or sometimes I'm like ruminating on like the past version of myself. And it's just kind of like this weird era. It's this era that I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know how to feel." I literally don't know how to feel because I just feel too many things, I guess. There's too many options on the table is kinda what it feels like. And I think something that's also been, like, I've been ruminating on is just the idea of, like, what is toxic positivity? Like, why I think it's okay for things to coexist. For example, you can be grateful and you can also feel like things are off. And those are two feelings that can coexist. But sometimes my brain will constantly think, like, oh, like, if you have so many things to be grateful for, you can't be mad about it. Like, you can't be mad about life. You can't feel any animosity towards it. You know what I mean? But that's not the case. Like, you can literally be mad at life and also have so many things to be grateful for. But I think a lot of the content that like I've consumed, I bet a lot of you guys have consumed. And honestly, I'll say like sometimes maybe I made that content of like that idea. But again, now you really have to have a level of discernment when listening to self-improvement content. Everyone goes through different walks of life. That message can be very powerful to someone that hasn't been grateful for their life. But also, what if you have been grateful and then you're hearing that message? It's almost confirming that you just need to be grateful and everything will be good. But that's not always the case. You can be grateful for life and you could also feel mad about it or like feeling uneasy about everything. And so just know that two feelings can coexist at the same time. Like multiple feelings can coexist at the same time. And that doesn't say that you're not grateful. Let me make that clear because that's something I'm learning. And I feel like maybe someone else out there is learning that too. And whenever I start to feel like uneasy, but like again, everything is objectively going really good, maybe sit with yourself a little bit more. That could be journaling, meditating. Again, I really love meditation, and meditation can look different for everyone. But I like to sit with my thoughts and just really not try to find a solution, but just almost set the intention before you go into the meditation of understanding yourself and just what is your subconscious mind telling yourself? Like, what are you ruminating about? And sometimes that's kind of where you're gonna get the best advice is, like, simply from yourself because it's your own experience, like, you know yourself better than anyone else because you spend all day with yourself. I really recommend that, and that's kind of leading us to the improve section, so the improvements. So, kind of like I said in the beginning of the episode, this one's going to look a little bit differently. Rather than it being like a step by step guide, I want this to be more of like an introspective, something you can ponder on. And I do have my journal here, so I'm going to be kind of looking down a lot if you're watching the video version. So, the first thing I said is the off feeling isn't a malfunction, it's just information. You're seeing it black and white rather than seeing what it is, what it actually is. And sometimes it's a lot deeper, it's a lot hidden. You gotta like really uncover it because there could be layers. Like it can't sometimes when life feels off, it's not just maybe one thing. It could be little things and under those little things. You know what I mean? Like it could be very complex. When everything is lined up and you still feel unsettled, this could just be a part of you that you left behind. And what I mean by this is when we're constantly chasing our goals, when we're constantly doing bigger and better things for ourselves, sometimes there's like the past version of ourselves that we're leaving behind. And so it just feels off because you feel like as you're creating a new version of yourself, the part of you that wanted those things, it's becoming different because now you are that person. And now the person that wants it is getting left behind. So it just kind of feels like unsettling and almost just like, huh, it's a blessing, but it just feels weird. And so a good question I just want you guys to ponder on is ask yourself, what have you outgrown that you haven't acknowledged yet? And this is really powerful because sometimes we don't know that we've outgrown ourselves because sometimes we just see ourselves for our past versions. Like you haven't sat down to try to understand who you are in this moment. Ponder that thought, see if maybe you've outgrown something and you just haven't really noticed it, acknowledged it, all of that. The next thing I wrote in here, I said, you might be grieving the version of yourself you're outgrowing. A big part of growing, becoming a better version of yourself, is sometimes when it comes with growth, it's not always just about gaining something. it sometimes requires you to lose something as well. And sit with that. Sit with that. If you want more, sometimes you have to give things up. And that could be why you're grieving. You feel off because you're grieving the person you've outgrown. And I just think that's something that's really, really interesting. And I feel like that's a really powerful thing to kind of sit with and like really get to understand because it's wow, like, that just goes to show you are growing, and that's a beautiful thing. Okay, so with this next one, I said, "Peace doesn't always feel like peace at first." And so what I mean by this is sometimes it feels like it's empty, like, this peace feels empty. For some reason, I'm, like, thinking of the Olivia Rodrigo song where it's like, "I got everything I wanted, it's just not what I imagined." Not every void is a warning sign. I feel like a lot of us tend to think when something's off, we just feel like it's wrong, and sometimes we feel like we have to act on it, but sometimes that's not the case at all. Like, of course, this is very situational, but I feel like sometimes what's happening is that the peace, it just feels empty because you're just not used to it. But what if it's just that like silence you just haven't learned to trust yet? Like, what if it's simply that? So that's just kind of the improved section. I know this was a little bit shorter, but I just want you to really ponder that. So just kind of going over everything I mentioned. So just remember that the off feeling isn't a malfunction, it's just information. You might be grieving the person you're outgrowing. And then lastly, peace doesn't always feel like peace at first. Alrighty, guys. So let's go straight into the thrive section. Okay, so I really want you to sit with this in 3 months. Say you just really committed all the time you can to be present, be in this moment, have more conversations with yourself here. So again, meditation's probably like the best thing you could do here, but of course, whatever will help you really reconnect with yourself. Really take the time to really get to understand yourself. Start making decisions based off of this present moment rather than your past version of yourself because again, you're growing. And sometimes when we grow, we have to let go of our past identity, our past habits, our past thoughts, everything. But how beautiful is like now you can really sit with who you are now and make decisions for this version of you, not the past version, for this version. You are becoming more aligned every single day. Every time you wake up in the morning, decide to set the intention of taking care of this version of yourself. Be very present, be in the moment. And in 3 months, if you really commit to that, just think about how much of your life is going to change, but for the better. Because when you learn, it's not always about just being grateful for everything. Sometimes it's simply just being present and just being okay with what's happening right now and not always judging it, not always seeing it as a bad thing, not trying to fill the void with something else. It's just growing and learning to accept who you are and where you're at right now. Alrighty, guys. So I know this episode was a little bit shorter, but again, I just want you to really ponder on these thoughts this week. I don't want you to overthink anything. Just get to understand yourself a little bit more and let me know your guys' thoughts. And as always, I'm so grateful for all of you guys. If you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give me a 5-star review. I appreciate it so much. It just helps get my podcast out there more. So, and if you did find this episode helpful, feel free to send it to your friends, your family, anyone that you think would need it because, again, trying to grow this community, trying to grow like-minded people. So if that's you, definitely subscribe as well to the YouTube channel. And then again, every episode comes out 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Monday. And then for meditations, they come out every single Thursday, but you can listen to that whenever. I am so grateful for all of you guys, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next week's episode. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.